Hey, happy Sunday, y'all. How is everyone doing? I am great. Had a chill week. I hope you had a chill week also. We are at the end of a week. God has blessed us again just for today. You know, we are on step 4. Before I get started, let us take a moment of silence for the addicts who still suffer in and outside of the walls. All right, my God, my God, my God, my God. You know, we are on step 4. And this step was scary. But before I get into that, I want to give a shout out to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. And I also want to give a shout out to the ones that celebrating clean time. I also want to give a shout out to the ones that is struggling and is still trying to find their way and gonna make it and gonna come through. You know, I want to give a shout out to the treatment facilities. The treatment facilities is awesome. When I say awesome, I mean they is awesome. The treatment facilities that help people that's struggling, you don't know nothing about this disease, they come in, and they had to come in like I came in, because I was lost, totally lost. But they come in and they help get their lives back on track and keep it going with the treatment facilities, the inpatient, the outpatient. And it takes awesome counselors to do that. You know, just can't nobody do that. To me, you have to be an addict, or you had to been used at one point of time, or you had to struggle through just like we did. So, hat off to you all. Keep helping people, because this disease of an addiction is no joke. I hate this disease. And I hate it because it does things to us that we don't even know that it done captured us to forget about everything else in life. And I'm so grateful that God gave me an understanding to want to change my life. I'm so grateful for that. Sometimes I get teary-eyed because every day that I wake up and I haven't used, it's a good day. Every day that I wake up and I'm still clean and I'm still nurturing myself and I'm still going through things. We're going to go through things in life. And give a shout out to me and other parents who have lost their loved ones, sons or daughters, nieces or nephews, a mother or father to an addiction. Addiction is very real, and it let us know it's real. If you think it's not real, then you need to go to a meeting or you need to go to a convention and you need to see the millions of people that have changed their life. I really admire that. That, you know, we had no hope. And all of a sudden we found a program that would accept all our ugliness. It accepts everything about us because we know how addiction works. We know. And I'm grateful to the 12-Step program. I'm grateful to the CA, Cocaine Anonymous. I'm grateful to AA, Alcohol Anonymous. And I'm grateful to NA. That's all narcotics. You know. All narcotics. You know, somebody asked me yesterday, said, why do y'all separate them? I said, separate what? She said, why do y'all separate CA, AA, and NA? Well, NA says it for all. There's no separation in that. But some people have never did cocaine, and some people never have did alcohol. So the ones they struggle with the most, far as alcohol, they just do AA. The ones who struggle with cocaine, they just do cocaine. I did it all because I did it all. I did it all. So I did it all. So that's why it has its own meaning, because cocaine and C Saber AA was the first one out there, and that drew in a confirmation of letting us identify what drug of choice we have, but all of it is in it. So anyway, I want to tell y'all, thank y'all for being a part of my process. Thank you for being a part of my program. Thank the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous for letting me find ways that I could deal with whatever I was dealing with. So I thank God for that. Okay, now we're on step 4. I see my sister Evangelist Selena is on here. She's on Tuesday night. If you want to get fed some good food, you think cornbread and you think greens and all that is good, go get some spiritual food. You know, that's what we're gonna need, some spiritual food. You know, she's on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. Anyway, that's my sister. All right. We are on step 4. Hey, Miss Johnson, good to see you, baby. We are on step 4. And step 4 tells us we made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And somebody asked me, said, well, what is searching? Well, you know, we never would have searched nothing had we been introduced to the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. I just totally got to be honest. Because, you know, we didn't have time to be fearless or nothing because I was in my youth. You was in your youth. Or I know when I was using, I didn't fear nothing. You know, only thing I always eventually thought about is dying in my active addiction. I always thought about that. But I had to take 12 steps, help me open some doors that had been closed for a long, long time. I mean a long time. You know, and I had to identify, but I didn't want to do this step because this step was painful for me. This step brought us some stuff that kept me getting high. I put it that way. This step, once I got to this step, and I stayed on this step for a long time, because this was the step that I really, really could identify that I had never did no searching, trying to search and figure out why I was getting high, or search and try to figure out why I settled for less, search and trying to figure out why did I let things happen, or why did I put myself in situation, why couldn't I stop using? You know, I had to go back down memory lane, and when you come into recovery and you deal with recovery, recovery is going to teach you one thing. Well, it's going to teach you multiple things, but the thing that it taught me the most was to open, to be willing to be open for change. I know I needed change. You know, everybody had to tell me, man, because my life had got so just unmanageable. It wasn't nothing cool about my life. Dressed up like a long time. But when I came into the program, and they introduced me to all the 12 steps, and I had to get a sponsor, who I love my sponsor. She's still my sponsor, and I'm so grateful for my sponsor. You know, I had to identify why did I need to search. And search means you're looking for something. You're looking for all obstacles of why you did this and why you did that and what hurt you the most and what you got to deal with to get through. So searching and fearless moral inventory. You heard what it says. It said fearless. Well, that's the step I told you that I did not want to deal with because it was very scary for me, because there was a lot of garbage, there was a lot of things that I hadn't even yet identified. So coming into the program, you know, then, you know, when you come in, you know, first you're coming in trying to figure out What is this disease? Why is it called a disease? And it's called a disease of chemical. It's called a disease to me because once you take them chemicals and put them into your body, then it starts to mess up the inner side of your body. And then all of a sudden you start to do things that you normally know you wouldn't do. Then you start craving for more and more and more. So this disease is off the bat. It's off the bat. And if you think I'm lying, go take a drink and keep drinking. You think I'm lying, go smoke some funny stick, which I call weed. If you think I'm lying, do some heroin. Do some crack. I remember when I first did crack, I chased it for the rest of my life. For the last 30 years, I chased crack. And I didn't go looking for it. It was brought to me. Matter of fact, it was put on me. It was put in my weed by a guy friend of mine. And ever since then, I could not stop. And I was angry because he introduced me without my permission and put it into my weed. I would always roll up my weed. I was working for the government, and all I did was really smoke weed and drink. But one day he just happened to, because he had an addiction, and he know if he got an addiction, and he fed me some of that addiction, then it would keep his addiction going. And that's what happened. That's the honest to God truth. I always just drank and smoked weed, and all of a sudden he put it all in my weed, and I became addicted, and I was chasing it ever since, and I used to be ashamed. I used to didn't like to talk about it. I used to hide. That's why we keep getting high. That's why we keep running. That's why we keep denying our truth. I tell people, searching a field is more inventory of yourself, myself. I had to go deep. It ain't something that you just play with. It ain't something that you just don't, I didn't want to deal with it because my pain was great. That's why I kept getting high. My pain was very great. Very, very great. And I don't know how I made it. I got to be honest with y'all. I don't even know how I made it. But once I came into the 12-step program, they say you got to learn how to get honest. You got to learn how to tell the truth on your disease. You have to learn how to be accepted on letting go of things that hurt you. And drugs hurt me. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. Because when I stayed in more dark places than I ever seen more light. That's just totally being honest. My days was dark, my night was dark. I didn't know how to deal with all the feelings. So when I came into the program, I was very humble. When you come into a place of the unknown in your life, you become very humble. You become very submissive. I didn't know how this program was going to work for me. But I was done. I was tired of being tired. I was tired of lying on myself. I was tired of denying myself the truth. I was tired of being a liar every day. Do you know how it feels to be a liar every day? When you take that drink or you hit that heroin and you do that cocaine and then you know it's wrong but you keep on doing it, and so you're lying. You're lying to yourself every day. And I got to a point in my life that I wanted something different. You know, I know what it was to hit bottom. So you ain't got to tell us, you know, most addicts that use, you gonna hit bottom. Because if we didn't hit bottom, then we could still keep using. You know, that's the story. The drug is gonna let you know that you done hit bottom, because you can't pay your bills. You got to keep lying. You keep selling stuff. You keep doing things that you know that's gonna cause you harm, and so this disease of an addiction destroyed a lot of people. I got a lot of friends that overdose off drugs. I got a lot of friends that's not here no more. I got a lot of friends that was clean and had clean time, and all of a sudden they choose to go back. I don't know why in the life of me, but it's the disease. It's that disease, like they say. That disease is cunning, and it's baffling, and it's powerful. Because you can be clean for multiples of years, and all of a sudden you can forget where you are doing. Somebody can have a drink, or somebody can. That's why I keep my surroundings very clear. You know, if you're using, you can't be around me. Hey, Blanche. Hey, Shelton. My friend Blanche, my baby. I know for a fact that when I did step 4, I wasn't ready for it. You know, my sponsor said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, well, I've been on step, you know, I stayed on 1 and I'm still on 1. I'm always be on 1 because I know I'm powerless over this addiction. I can't win with drugs. Ain't no use in me telling you I can, because I can't. Drugs ain't made to win. Drugs is made for you to hurt yourself and kill yourself and destroy yourself. That's what drugs do." So when I got to this step, I had to talk to my sponsor, who is still my sponsor today after all these years of recovery. Have I saw change in recovery? Yes. But it's one thing that I have not seen change. The newcomers are still coming in. Ain't that something? We can see change in everything else, but still when I go to a meeting or go to a convention, newcomers still coming in. So that means they ain't changed. It's still whooping butt out there. It still wants to take our lives and destroy our families and destroy our minds and put us in a place to where we don't even want to live no more. I don't know about you, but I got to the point of hitting rock bottom to where I didn't even want to be here no more. I couldn't deal with the pain. I'm going to tell you why I use. We use, most addicts who drink, most addicts that use, the most people say, well, we do it because it feels good. That too is no lie. But the reason why we continue to run and hide and be in denial is because of pain. Because of pain. Now, if you use because of something different, because I use because it felt good to get rid of the pain for a while. But I realized something. When it all came down, when the drugs went away and there was no more alcohol, the pain still was there. It didn't go nowhere. So now I had to deal with step 4. And step 4, I tried to stay away from it. I told the sponsor, my sponsor a long time that I wasn't ready for step 4. And so she decided that we was going to work on step 4. And step 4 was a problem for me at first because I hidden behind so many walls. I held on to things for so many years, and it was very scary. I was fearful to even go into this inventory of where I gotta go deep and pull some things out. See, people think, oh, when you get clean, it's just the drugs. It ain't the drugs. It's the drugs once we put them in us. But now if you remove the drugs, what's messed up? character defect, personality. It's more deeper than y'all think, because as we use, we create other problems and other characters that help build our inner being to why we keep using. And then we change on top of it. We change. I could hold some resentments. I can wake up angry. I can wake up mad. Or I can wake up not wanting to see nobody, not wanting to answer my phone. I had a lot of stuff going on in my life that I didn't talk about it. I hid it. I ran from it. And the more I ran, the more I kept using. The more I ran, the more I kept using. And then all of a sudden, the pain got too great. You get tired of being tired. If nothing changed, what's going to change? I had to change. Yes, I was going to die. Ain't no use of me lying. If you think you're going to people think that I had a couple of friends that died straight up. They drank alcohol every day. And I used to tell my best friend, you going to stop. He went to the doctor. Now you got a liver disease, fatty liver. He told you to stop, but you didn't stop. But my friend had a lot of pain that he did not want to deal with. And that's why he's not here. That's why he's not here. And I missed him so much because he did not hear me. See, I know what pain would do for you. Pain would keep you not trying to find out what's causing the pain. And I had to find the reason why I had so much pain over all the years I didn't deal with. And now I know why. Because the disease of an addiction didn't want me to. It wanted me to keep on denying, keep on taking that fearless, more immature. That immaturity that I took about myself, it wasn't good. The immaturity that I started digging up and started looking at and trying to figure out how I did. Why did I allow myself to get like this? Oh God, please help me. The pain is great, but you gotta bring it out. If you don't deal with hurt and pain, you would eventually die. You would eventually keep using or die from grief or pain. And I was tired of carrying so much pounds of weight on me. I go to bed with weight. I wake up with weight. So when I was introduced to step 4, and step 4 ain't no joke. That's why you better know what you're doing when you get to step 4. Because step 4 going to make you open up and be honest and look and take an inventory. And I mean a good inventory. Everything you missed, everything you didn't even bring up in step 2 and 3. But when you get to step 4, that means more. You got to take a more inventory. You got to really look at you. And see what you've been lying about, or see what you've been carrying, or see what you couldn't let go of. I couldn't let go of pain. That's why I kept getting high. I couldn't let go of it. The more pain I was in, the more pain I looked at, the more things in my life caused me to keep using. Until one day, the pain got too great. It got too great. Got too great to where I was tired of just drinking and using and being a liar and dressed up liar. We as human beings, we can put on our makeup and we can put on our wigs and we can get dressed up. But what's up underneath there? What is we going through? What's up underneath the makeup and the hair and the glasses? And, we have to find our worth. We have to find the truth of why we still using, or why we cannot stop using, or why do we want to continue to use when we know that it's not working for us. So when we made a searching fearless, when I had to make that fearless inventory of myself, man, I couldn't stop crying. I can't lie to y'all. I didn't know it was that deep. I didn't know I had kind of pushed things out the way. Move some to the right, some to the left, some in the back of me. But I never put it in the front of me. It was all over the place, but not in front of me. So I had to get butt naked truth with this one. Because this one right here was going to open some doors so I can move to step on. I can move to the other step. I can get honest. I can tell you the stuff I used to do. I can tell you why I don't know why I don't have AIDS. I don't know why I didn't have no disease. Out of all the stuff I did in my using, it was ugly. Oh, I can laugh using. I can put on the front of smiling. But what's really, you know, recovery taught me that most addicts, most of us done got so used to hiding behind pain that even when we get clean and we got multiples of years or 6 months or 9 months, we still find ourselves covering up something we going through. You know, hey Gertrude, even when I came into recovery, I still went to meetings, but I was still in pain. I still went to meetings and was still in pain. And that's why they said, keep coming until the miracle happens. Keep coming. No matter how you want to stop, or them meetings ain't doing nothing for me. You know, I could have made all excuses in the world not to go to a meeting. But honey, I did. My life was so much in rattles. I had to try to, you know, my life was like a puzzle. And, you know, the puzzles is all separated. And taking this, we made this searching and fearless more inventory. I didn't want to do that, but I did. And let me tell you why I'm so glad I did. Because things that happened to me 20 and 30 years ago, things that happened to me when I was a little kid that I can still remember, things that I done, things that were done to me, the angriness, how I set up myself to become anger. Anger was very manifest in me. I carried anger. I carried resentments. I carried hurt. I carried pain. And when I got to this step, my sponsor had me to do some things. And sometimes I would start off and then I stopped. I couldn't finish. Because you know why? I thought I had killed all that. I thought all that was dead. It wasn't dead. That's the reason I couldn't move forward. But when I started going to meetings and started sitting around some tables and I heard my story through another different face, I heard my story through different other people's, I realized I ain't the only one been in pain. I ain't the only one been in pain. You know, I thought I was the only one living this dressed up life. But when I came into the meetings of unity in the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, it started working for me. Everybody don't get it. And some people don't want it. Some people have to wait till they really hit bottom. Or some people got to wait till they get real bad news. I knew my life was messed up because I couldn't stop using nothing. Everything I wanted to use, I used. Just so I didn't have to feel nothing. I didn't have to deal with my daddy issues. I didn't have to deal with my rape issues. I didn't have to deal with my sexual activity issues. I mean, I was messed up. And how can a person be messed up when they don't look messed up? That's the key. We can't see pain. I can get in your face and laugh and be funny and thinking I got it going on, and I'm full of pain. I'm just good in hiding it. Most addicts is. When we come into the world of an addiction, into the 12-step Narcotics Anonymous, do you know how many million people walked through that door that was full of pain? That had issues that they never even wanted to even deal with or mess with no more? I had a lot of issues. And one of my issues was me. The biggest issue was me. Because I was destroying me. Didn't nobody make me get high. Didn't nobody make me take a drink. We fit in where we want to get in. Can't nobody make us do nothing. Step 4 means what it say. It's an inventory that you got to deal with in order to recover. In order to remain clean. Taking that more inventory. So many people don't want to even do that. Some people don't even want to take no more inventory because they know they got so much intake inside of them that it's going to take a minute. That's why that's step 4. Step 4 ain't no joke. Step 4 will bring some things out of you that you thought you had kind of surfaced and put it away. But honey, no. When you get clean, when you start working on something, when God start coming into your life, and he starts showing you some things that you thought you had put away or you forgot. Then you got to open up and you got to talk to the God of your understanding. Look, I all my life, I knew it was somebody special that was watching over the whole world. I always knew that. I always knew it was a God of my understanding of the universe, a God of my understanding that was watching over me. Even in my addiction. When I talk about how, I went through things in my life due to drugs. Somebody helped me hostage for 3 days. And maybe that's why I like watching FBI and the SWAT team, because I played them scenes. I was in one of them scenes where I was held hostage by some crazy man due to my addiction, walking the street high, and he decided to hold me hostage. See, everybody got a story. But it's how your story ends. I got help for every pain that I held on to, that I got high behind. The reason I got high, you got to be honest. Some of the reason I got high is because I didn't like how my daddy done me. I got high because I was getting high before I got raped. I started picking up drinks that, my daddy, we had 8 or 9 taverns, and I could always go in and get me some liquor and steal me some money, and the pain got great. The pain started before even it became an addiction. So when we get into recovery, we think it's all about just the drugs and alcohol. No, it's all about our behaviors. That's what's going to get us. Meredith, hey, honey, hearing. I had to realize that, man, step 4 is bringing up too much. Man, me doing this personal inventory of my life is causing me some more pain, and I can't drink. I can't take nothing. I got to deal with this. I got to deal with these steps without any drugs and alcohol. That's how I know I was growing. That's how I know I wanted something different. That's how I knew that I wanted change for my life. Because if you don't change, ain't nothing going to change. And not just stopping the drugs gonna make your life perfect. You gotta search and do things and figure out why. Why do you want to continue to do drugs, or why couldn't you stop? What pain is you carrying? What pain have you been carrying a long time? Oh, some of us got something to do with mama. Some of them got something to do with kids. Some of them got something to do with nephew or being raped or being mistreated. You know, it's a lot of different people's pain that we all can talk about. But one thing I realized, if I didn't work on me, if I didn't change the way I think and the way I was doing things that caused me to go keep getting high, then I wasn't going to never stop using. So I had to get butt naked honest. Step 4 helped me so much. I have so much gratitude for step 4. Because step 4 opened some doors that even I didn't know that I had closed. Hey, Gertrude, I know that if it wasn't for the God of my understanding, I would still be that hypocrite, that liar, that thief, that prostitute, that enabler, nurturing everybody else, not caring about what people think about. You know, I just did things. All my life I tried to please people. And the worst person I portrayed was me. That's why you can't come in my life pulling them same tricks and them same games because I grew. You can't do that to me. I done healed through a whole lot. And the same way I got to heal, you got to heal. Hurt makes us look at ourselves differently. We get a man, we give him the world, we think he loves us. Now he's cheating, now he's lying, now he's falsifying like we were doing in our act of using. Heartbreak. Accepting people because we really can't see them. But now I see more clearly than I ever have in my life. My eyes are open. I'm alert. I'm aware. And that's why God ain't going to send me nobody that ain't for me. He just ain't going to do that. But when we start picking, when we start choosing, I realized that's how I made my mistakes. I made a lot of them. Because I choose everybody I wanted to choose. And sometimes when we choose in everything that we want to choose, that create pain. Because we didn't look and we didn't pay attention. So when I took this fearless more of an inventory, look, this fearless inventory helped save my life. That stopped me from using. I had already came into recovery. I had already stopped using. But when I did this step, I really wanted to stop using. I really wanted to continue to be clean. Because I didn't know how damaged I was. I did not realize how damaged I was until I came into the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. Because see, when you come into a program, and the program was meant for you to change, the program was meant for you to identify with all hurt and errors of your life. And when you come into a program like this, it's going to help build your confidence. It's going to make you look at things that you didn't look at before. And you got to keep it 100. Simple. You got to keep it 100. Because if you don't keep it 100, guess what? You would fail at this program. You would find yourself using again. You would find yourself asking, how did I get back? I was too scared to go back. I ain't never going back. I hate to succeed. I found it. I came in being real. I dropped nightgowns. I dropped panties. I dropped all sheets off my head. I wanted to free myself for one time in my life. And see, we getting older. We ain't getting younger. So I wanted to free myself. I wanted to know what it is to free myself from pain. Because for all my life, as I got a little older, all I knew was pain. But see, I didn't identify with it because I got high. I drank. I got drunk. I got numb. I didn't want to feel nothing. Can't go through life like that. Because you'll never get your freedom of realizing what freedom is. You know, I'm so blessed that, you know, this Thanksgiving, I hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. Today was a good day, Sunday. We didn't have church, but they had it on Zoom. But look, another Thanksgiving, y'all. And many of our friends is not here. And when I realized and did this fourth step, it was another reason why I continue to get high. Because all the people that I loved that had became my partners in crime, in using drugs, had left me. They had overdosed. They had died. Or they got killed. Then that may be even used worse. With this addiction thing, we can blame it on everything. And anything. But I didn't want to continue to use no more. I did a lot of damage. Thank God that, that he saw in me what I yet had to find in me. He knew all the time. He knew all the time the healing was going to come. He knew all the time the tears was going to flow. He knew all the time that I was going to eventually let go of the pain and start healing. Do you know how many people still walking around holding resentments, something you did through our active addiction, and they won't let go of it? I don't ever want to live like that no more, because that's how I lived. I had resentments and anger. I didn't know how to let go. I kept getting high, and the more I got high, and the more I could let go, is the more I continued to get high. I love being clean. That was the best gift God gave to me. Everything I do now is natural nerves. I cannot drink. I cannot use. You cannot. We have to learn the ability to learn how to deal with truth head on. And I knew I was a doggone addict. I knew I'm a recovering addict to the truth. Ain't nothing gonna ever make me go back to using again. Because when your life become unmanageable, you ain't right. Something's wrong. Can't no man fix you. Your mother and daddy can't fix you. Your sister and brother can't fix you. This is something that you got to do on your own. You got to work on self. You got to find out, why was this more inventory so important that we must do? And it was very important for me to do. Because, man, I didn't know I had buried so many painful feelings, so many losses. All my friends that I got high with, all my friends that, we were friends to the core, left me. And I got high behind that too. I got high because I wanted to get high. I'm going to put that in there first. My want was, my desire was to get high. That's why when I changed my life, it was desire. It was desire meant for me to change my life. I wanted to see if this recovery thing was real. I wanted to see when they said this 12-step program really works if you work the program. I really wanted to get an understanding. Now y'all on some bull crap. Because some of y'all got high with me, and now y'all walking like y'all look good and feel good, and you dressed up, you smiling, and then I'm coming in treatment, and some of y'all beat me before I got in, and then I come in, and I'm like, these people lying. Got their hats tilted, nice caddies, nice cars, got their house, going to school, going to be lawyers, going to be doctors. I came and I'm looking and saying, well, what's wrong with this picture? Why is all these people, these millions of people's here? What did they do that I know I need to do? That's why I'm in the program. They said, keep coming back. You'll learn. You'll pick up. You identify. You will fit in. We family. What? We family? What do you mean we family? We family. Recovery Unity. And they Narcotics Anonymous. We family. I ain't never had a family that big. What do you mean we family? What? We family? Yeah, we family. You walked into a place where everybody fits in. That use drugs and alcohol. That identify what they're using. Man, I can go to a meeting right now and walk in that room. They know me. And I can ask them for help. I can ask them a question. I can ask them to do something for me. That's family. I ain't got to be talked about. Everybody got their own message. Everybody got their own way, the way they do their message. Everybody got their own way of how they think. But I think good. I don't think negative like I used to, because that was a part of my life. But taking that more feelings more inventory. My sponsor told me, she said, Renee, you ain't going to be the same when you get through with this one. She never lied. I mean, I work this program. I work it right now. That's why I'm still here. That's why if I change one person, if somebody can look that's been struggling, that don't know how the disease of an addiction work, if somebody can turn the page and hear me talk about addiction, no, you ain't got too many people that do that. You got people that get on here and say, oh, if you're on drugs and alcohol and you want to get your life together, call this clinic, we'll help you do this and this and that. Recovery is more than that. It's more people need to be out here talking and trying to help another individual get their lives together, because this disease is killing us. This disease is destroying people. This disease is taking us out. This disease is very helpful that we get the help that we need. See, going into a clinic and getting your help and getting started is awesome. Don't let me tell you it's not, because that's how I started. But what do you have when you get out? You need a sponsor. You need people. You need meetings. You need inpatient, outpatient. It's awesome, because it changed many lives, not just my life. I got so many friends in recovery that I see the change. Lord, I've had people that I love die that was clean. They didn't use, they just died of health issue or something like that. Very painful. But they were clean. That's the gift. They were clean. And I don't never want to go back to dirty thinking. I don't ever want to go walking in misery. I don't want to ever go back holding resentments and letting it affect my day after day after day. I don't want to carry the word hate. I don't want to carry how I can't let go of something to where it keep me using for all them years. No, I'm a changed woman. And it ain't just due to me, it's due to God of my understanding. I know where that come from. I know how I think and what I do now. I know that I have changed. I don't need nobody to tell me. I don't need nobody to pat me on the shoulders. My life is meaningful right in front of me. Because, see, when we come to a time in our life that we can really be honest and see where we nurture peoples and we carried our own pain and we use behind our pain and we let peoples come in our life that cause us pain on top of the other pain, and then sometimes our kids take us through pain, and sometimes our friends take us through pain, and now I can't use. I have to just deal with. And I'm going to win. I'm going to come out winning, because I can think naturally now. And I have a God of my understanding that is nurturing me and taking care of me instead of me trying to take care of everybody else. Because, people will use you only because they need you, or they want something for you, or, did they ever really love you? That's the question I have to ask myself right now. Did they ever really love you? It's all what I could do for you and all. But I changed. See, I know how to let go. I know how to walk with my head up and let go and say the God of my understanding got me. I ain't come this far to go back to my old ways, my old holding resentment, my not letting go. You know, I have to do a more inventory on myself every day. Even when sometimes that Satan try to get in me, I have to do an inventory and say, come on, Renee, that ain't right. Come on, don't let him in. Because he's still trying to work on us even though we clean. And I don't give him his crops no more. I ain't holding on nothing. I done worked on myself, and I love, for the first time in our lives, we begin to understand what really loving ourselves means. And that means not putting up with the bull crap. You can't use me or hurt me no more. We already was damaged odds. We know what that was, damaging ourselves. So we don't need nobody else trying to come in our life. And then some of us, we just settle for what we can get. And that's why we still keep getting the same pain after pain. Even while we clean. I see it all the time. I don't need nothing to make me feel whole because I feel whole because God got me whole. I ain't got to pretend. I ain't got to lie. I don't have to hate no more. I don't have to walk around with resentments like I used to. I don't have to. Ooh, it was just so many things that kept me bound and ugly and falsifying my thinking and lying to people every day. I'm good. I love my recovery. I love my 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous. I love that I can have an open mind and be willingness to change my life. I'm so glad that when I made this step forward, this fearless and made it searching and fearless more, it opened some doors for me to get better. I always tell people we ain't perfect, but we better than we was. And long as we better than we was, we can still get better. We'll never be perfect. Nobody will never be perfect. But recovery is a good thing for everybody. I don't think people's got behavioral problems. You got cutting problems. You got depression problems. You got mental illness problems. We have a lot of problems. And it don't always have to be drugs, but it can become an addiction. That's why I tell people that it can become an addiction. Sex. I want sex every day, every night, use and use. That's why I could use and get high and use and get high and have sex and get high and have sex. My whole accountability in my head was screwed up. Looking for love in the wrong places, and it still didn't do nothing but cause me pain. So I had to get some gratitude in my life to find a foundation that could help me get my life back together. I ain't got to lie, because see, when I lie to you, I lie to me, so that means I ain't changed. So if I can't tell you the truth and be open and honest, then what have I really been working on? I didn't come in here to keep the same addictions and the same character and the same behaviors. I didn't come into the program to be falsifying who I was, because I've been falsifying me all my life. So now these 35 years these years mean a lot to me, because I don't have to lie and be who you want me to be or nurture you anymore or take you in or buy you to love me. I don't have everything that I did, I do different. All because of the 12-step program. You got to be honest with yourself. People is out here hurting people. You meet somebody, you think, I'm scared to even meet nobody. And believe me, I meet them. But that don't mean nothing to me. Because, see, I'm on my P's and Q's now. Because we up in age and we get up in age, and I'm not settling for less no more. I know how to nurture me, pay attention, open-minded, and see all things. And I'm at a place now where I want everything that was stolen from me, I'm getting it back. And the one thing that I stole from me was my ability to stay clean. Now I'm clean. Another thing that is nurturing me. I had nurtured me for years, and now I nurture me. I give me the best. Instead of trying to give you the best, I give me the best. It's okay if you don't want to deal with me. It took me a long time to get to this area in my life, but I did through this step 4. Step 4 helped save a lot of things that I brought up that I could identify with it. And my sponsor helped me bring it up. And I pulled it up. Because you don't even know that you done kind of laid this to rest until you get clean and you start back. You know, your mind is getting clear now. And then all of a sudden you realize, you realize, man, that did happen. You know, why did I allow that to happen? Why did that person do that? Why did this happen? Why did that happen? You know, recovery is about cleansing. To me, recovery is about cleansing the soul, the spiritual part that needs cleaning. So I clean it by my steps. I read. Ain't a day that don't go by I don't read. And there ain't a day to go by I don't read. Taking that, and when I made that search and feel I had to search. I had to go back. Why did I take money from my mother? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? And the more I started writing is the more I never could finish. I still was writing for days and days. But then when my sponsor broken down, now she wanted a more inventory. She wanted to go deep. She wanted to know why did I set a person car on fire and never told nobody. Step 4 brought it out. And the person could have died. I was hurt, pain. Man. So when I go and look at my life and I see where God done brought me from, regardless of everybody could have painted a bad picture of me, but you don't have to paint a bad picture of nobody. They already pictured the picture themselves. Until they look at it and see what bad picture they pictured themselves in, then they'll find it. Any human being that know they did something wrong, ain't nobody got to keep holding them to it because we know what we did. But one thing I learned to do was forgive myself. If I couldn't forgive me, how can I forgive you? When I made that fearless, my fearless more inventory was really telling me how to bring up all this stuff, deal with it, not all at one time, you know, because you ain't going to come up with it at one time. But I'm so glad for this step because it was very fearful for me to identify that I did these things, or identify that I let the dope man do some things to me to get some dope, or I did some things to me to get, or I lied, or I stole. You know, we become criminals in our own minds when we use it. Criminal thinking in our own minds when we use it. It don't start off that way, but it ends up that way. So I love being clean. You know, I'm my own person. I retired in 2012. All them years working for the government and for real estate. I've been busy all my life. And I thank God through the grace of God that I can sit here and tell you that if you want to change and stop using and continue to get better, work on self. Figure out why you holding on to some things, you know, because most things we hold on that hurt us is because we allowed it to, you know. And, I allowed men to come into my life and hurt me. because sometimes we'll settle for less because sometimes we think we can't do better. But we can always do better. Can't no man fulfill what we need in our own spiritual body. You have to learn how to love yourself in order to understand and love other people and to forgive other people. You ain't got to ever deal with them again. But you got to forgive them for you to grow. It's not for them, it's for you. So I'm so glad that I came to a part in my life that I feel like I'm just chilling. And when I say this with so much honor that I've never been able just to chill, not worry about nothing. I'm, not worried about nothing. My son's birthday was yesterday. And whenever the November, the end of the month come, I always get that little weary feeling. You got to carry your loved ones inside of your heart. But anyway, guess what? I come to admit that I am grateful. Step 4 helped save my life. And if you be willing to do the step 4, or you need work with step 4, or get you a sponsor to help you with step 4, you can do step 4. Step 4 was a big inspiration for me to connect with my own personal inside inventory. And I'm so glad I did. Thank y'all for letting me come in. Next week we will be on step 5. We come so far into recovery that I love being clean, because being clean helps me know that I identify with all areas of things that was in my life that took me to places that I never been. Drugs took me to places that I never thought that I can take my own self to. But because of that, I give all my failures, all my things that I thought I failed at, all my insecurities, all my disbelief and being dishonest, all helped me to get better. And understand that if the God forgive me, I can forgive anybody. If we'll be on step 5 on next Sunday, we are admitted to God and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. So good to have a step that can identify with ourselves and help us heal through that step. God bless you and keep you. See y'all next Friday at 8 o'clock. Sunday at 2 o'clock, we work the steps. Y'all be safe out there. They done kind of plowed the snow. Be safe, drive safe. And if ain't nobody told you that they love you, just tell them Renee loves you. And do something nice and kind for somebody today. And see them to make a difference in you. Have a good evening. Stay safe. Talk to y'all soon.